What's going on, everybody? Mazdrachi here. Audio check, chat. Make sure that we can all be heard. So let us know if there are any audio issues. And as always, Palm is going to take the floor. Go ahead, Palm.
Thanks, Nas, and welcome back to the 5-9 Gaming Dragon Ball Legends podcast, everybody. Today, episode 13. This will make for a good warm-up. And before we start, we have another thing that I would like to advertise. Today, we just dropped on our Twitter account, so check the Twitter out, please. We just dropped a form for fan-made Golgita Blue concepts. So if you're a person that likes to make concepts of cards or characters that are maybe not in the game yet, send us your ideas, and we will pick about 3 of them and make a video out of it where we will discuss, hey, this is cool, we like this, we would change that, and just give our take on your concepts. So check our Twitter after the podcast or maybe during the break. And don't forget, we have this command !Linktree in the chat, so you can follow us on all our social media. And with that said, our topics for today will be the new Vegeta, obviously, talking about the unit, his best teams, his equips. We have the Rising Battle return, and we want to discuss a little bit the concept of time gating through keys and missions. Also, the missions themselves to get him from 7 to 14 stars. The step-up banner for Z-Power. We can now do dailies on Zenkai banners. We have a new Awakened Red Movies equip. The Zenkai booster missions for Bardock. And ramble a little bit about videos and stuff. And today, I am joined by Brad.
What up?
We have the homie Goresh.
Hey, everybody.
We have our producer, Nas.
What's going on, everybody? By the way, did we tweet out that we're live, Goresh, or anyone also?
Brad, do you want to take care of that?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, do that, and then I'll retweet it. But hello, everybody. How are you doing today? Yes, I am awake. Thank you for your concern.
We're joined by Kuba.
Hello, everyone. I am also awake. Hello.
I think Prof is also pretty much awake. You got your coffee yet?
Oh, yeah. No, actually, I'm drinking cocoa this morning.
Surprise. And we got Super Saiyan 3 Ryuden.
I am here. What's going on?
All right, we have a bunch of Captain Obviouses today. And starting with our first topic, Kuba, did you farm the free Jacket Vegeta all the way to 14 star? And what do you think of him?
Well, I absolutely did. And I think he's a phenomenal unit, especially for a free-to-play unit. It's been a while since we've had a free-to-play unit. Who was the last one that we got
Goku.
apart from...
Yeah, Kakarot.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, this Vegeta is really good. Again, it doesn't take that much time to get him up to 14 stars. Blast damage is really good. I heard that he's able to hold his own on the defensive front as well. I like it. I think that this is actually a really, really good thing to do, especially because when they announced this Vegeta, a lot of people initially thought that you'd have to summon for him, which would have been bad because we all know what we're saving up for. But yeah, just the fact that they gave us this completely solid unit for free is just absolutely amazing. So yeah, if anybody has the time, I would absolutely recommend getting him up to 14 stars. Doesn't take that long. He's a good unit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow with that. He's a good unit. You could tell that they deliberately held back on some things though, like his passive right there. You gotta wait 30 timer counts before you get your full damage, as well as your little bit of tankiness, and then his main ability not giving him ki. That does hold him back a little bit. It would have been nice if it did. I often find because you get it so early, you're so used to you go through your combo and then you draw that blue card and then you have the key to do it, but he doesn't have that, so you could tell it was a conscious effort just to hold him back a little bit. But for a free unit, he's really good. Card draw, damage done, a little bit of sustained damage card. I like his green card. A little bit of boost for your allies for every blast card. That's pretty clever, alongside the fact that it changes strike to blast, and he does an easy job of getting green cards. So I like him. I think Vegeta family didn't have a max HP buffer either, so he does a good job of that too. I like him. Yeah. He's worth it.
I was going to say, like, for me, his role on the Vegeta family team is not so much a damage dealer, even though he does do a lot of damage. It's more of a support type role, right? Where he just comes in, and he doesn't even have to be switched in or switched out. He's just supporting the team, kind of like how LF Frieza works, right? So he's just there providing almost the same amount of buffs that LF Frieza does for his teams. And his green card, honestly, probably couldn't ask for a better support ability on there for his team. So that's really good. Damage is definitely acceptable for a free unit. My only big concern with him is his defense, because you literally can't take a hit, especially against like all these Zenkai units. Like obviously, if you're not like going up against like Zenkai Super Saiyan 3 or Zenkai Namek Goku, stuff like that, you're gonna be fine. But once you start getting into those like those fights against some family, it's rough. But he's for a free to play unit definitely good enough.
I'd say he definitely he feels like you're fighting a free to play unit with this guy.
Yeah.
I do agree that he definitely shines more as a support unit. I've seen him get a ton of value through the Majin Vegeta, the purple kind of future support Vegeta, and the transforming God Vegeta actually just deals amazing damage, and that key recovery really comes in handy on that character to keep the combo going. But yeah, I think his most value long term is definitely going to be sitting on the bench, but it's good that they finally got an HP buffer for Vegeta family.
So now they just still need a good red, or?
Yeah,
I think he's the
Zenkai
best
unit,
red, honestly.
right.
Like, I like the armor trunks, but I'd still go with this Vegeta if I was running pure Vegeta family.
I mean, the thing with Vegeta families, they have no Zenkais, right?
Right.
In this day and age, you don't have a Zenkai, you're behind.
I mean, they could Zenkai that red GT Vegeta, get GT back in line, and give Vegeta family some love.
The
That
red
would
actually be solid.
The red Majin Vegeta needs a Zenkai, and they need to remove that stupid debuff so he's actually playable.
Or keep it and give you like a reason to want to take that big of a debuff, Maybe you get that much more of attack.
Yeah.
Well, no, they should just get rid of it, because in this day and age, like, many units pose an incredible offensive threat, and if you're just shooting yourself in the foot, I mean, nobody's going to use them. Like I said, there's better red units, and that debuff is too much of a detriment to make him playable in a meta like this, where you can just get nuked. Essentially,
Maybe this is coming from somebody who just likes Bardock a little too much, the Zenkai one. I want Super Vegeta to get a Zenkai for Vegeta family. Give us a nice solid yellow, a nice blast attacker, like
but he only buffs
good
Super
criticals.
Saiyans, so
yeah, I agree with it. It's a weird buffer on that sense, yeah. But I mean, 18 also has a weird buff, so I don't know. I just want that just because I like that character a lot, and I want him to be good again. But
Yeah, I
GT
think him
Vegeta would
and-
be a good one too. The yellow one, he'd be solid as well.
oh, Majin Vegeta red, y'all.
I agree. He'd be a good option too. I get you.
He is
but-
still yet to have a day in the sun at all. At least some of the other units were good for a little bit.
Oh yeah, no, he was doo doo when he came out. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we're
No.
getting a little bit off track here from the actual unit.
tiny
Um,
bit.
So what teams have you ran him on? Because he also has the movies tag, right?
Yeah. I
He
guess.
would
It's weird on
You
movies,
don't- you
yeah,
don't
because he
wanna
only
do
busts
that.
Vegeta families. Is weird.
Like you
It's
can.
He's pretty
his-
much restricted to Vegeta family, just like the Kakarot Goku is restricted to Goku teams, right?
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Like his buff doesn't have Vegeta family requirements. One of them wants him to be with one Vegeta family member, I believe. But his general damage and key buff is universal.
Yeah,
So
but the
you
Z
can run him
ability.
with.
So you
Yeah, the
have
Z
to run
ability
him
is
with the
definitely
blue-
selfish at that point.
You'd have to run him on movies with like the blue transforming Vegeta.
He's
the
not
purple one
so
that was
valuable
earlier.
that you run him off tag typically, so you'd want to keep him with Vegeta family. But if you're a fan of this Vegeta, you think his coat looks clean, whatever, you can throw him on a Sam team, you can throw him on a movie team. It's definitely not optimal, but you know that going into it.
That's something that, yeah, like I could definitely see that being useful for like a new player who doesn't really have too many options, and they just gave you a free 14-star unit. So in that sense, if you're a free to play / newer player and you just have to put him somewhere to make good use of a free 14-star unit, then yeah, I mean, probably even Saiyans would be better than movies overall, because you can at least combine that with other Vegetas and get some value out of his Z ability. But
Well, movies is just weird. It has options and no options at the same time. That's the issue with movies. Like, BoJack seems really solid, but he's too predictable nowadays. That's about
Honestly,
what you got.
Like you say he's too predictable, but there's a window right when your opponent commits to the card at point blank range, right? You can react in that window with BoJack, and then you're forcing your opponent to play with drop combos. Then once you give, like, if DBS Broly, the transform one, gets a Zenkai to bring BoJack's stats up the line, I think he's going to be as meta changing as he was before. Like, movies will be a formidable threat at that point.
I hope so. I really do. I actually liked running movies a lot. Well, okay. When it first hit, I was like, all right, this sucks, bro. I don't want to do this anymore. But like, got a little old pretty quick. But I do miss it though, being in the meta for sure.
I mean, it's also a weird pattern, right? That they all they Zenkai for movies so far was Broly's, right?
Broly, and that's it. No, and Cooler, I guess technically, right? Blue
Yeah.
Cooler.
Okay, but he doesn't
Yeah,
buff
but
movies, right?
yeah,
no,
he's,
yeah. I'm just saying he's like
So
technically
yeah,
on the.
so
on the
anyone
team,
who has
right?
a movie Zenkai ability, I think is only Broly's.
because Brawlers are the most popular movie characters
I mean,
besides Gogeta. Because I guess technically STR Gogeta or not STR Gogeta, Red Gogeta also fits on there too, right?
True. This man is not wrong. And so we talked a little bit about the teams, but what equips have you found most useful on those? I think Prof, you posted some on our chat. Maybe you want to start?
sure. Let me bring that up real quick. I really like the new awakening item. We'll get into details in a minute, but I like the new awakening item on him. There's an item I really like for this Vegeta called Boundary Breaking Vegeta. It's a Vegeta family item. It's going to have both attacks, special damage, and just pure strike attack on the final slot, up to 15%. That's an unawakened item that you can farm pretty easily. And then there's the You're Sure to Win. I think it's just a normal Saiyan item. That's going to give him blast attack and special damage. I think they discussed earlier you don't get Ki when you use his main ability, but part of his kit is manipulating blue cards. I actually do like his synergy with the purple Vegeta. So I think going pure special damage down the line will get you about 30% more on top of it. And I think you'll see some good value going into that.
Yeah, I think the special move route I think is viable for him. Again, the only thing is like they could have just given him like at least 30 Ki on main, if not just the straight up 50 that he needs to actually launch the special move. I don't know. I feel like that's like as long as you draw a blue card with your main in this day and age, you should get the Ki to also use it. That's like
I agree with that.
the bottom line, right?
That's like the magic formula that keeps making units worth it.
Yeah.
Kuba, what about you?
Hello. Yes. Honestly speaking, like again, I'm the more casual player out of everybody. So when it comes down to equipment, that's not really something that I'm like super focused on, personally speaking. So like I don't think like my input would be the best for this type of situation.
Okay.
Use gold equipments with good letters on them.
There
Well,
you go.
I think
Yes.
the two free equips are really good for him. You have the Vegeta one that came out with the DBS Broly movie, if you played way back when, which has King Vegeta on it. That's a pretty solid equip. It's not bad. It's got blast attack, critical, blast defense. That's solid. And then the new Saiyan equip with Goku on it, the Super Saiyan Blue one. It's got both attacks and strike defense to even out. So those are solid too. Like, you know, if you're not like a super grind heavy person, they just kind of give you some free ones. Both the Pycon equips are good. You got both defenses or you got both attacks. Those are both pretty solid. And they're really easy to get to Z. A lot of Pycon. There's a lot of Pycon equips. I didn't realize.
The boundary breaking Vegeta one's probably the best.
Yeah, that is a really, really good equip. But it's also got terrible rolls. Like, I've tried.
I got a Z on that one, luckily enough, and it's everything he wants. It's the blast damage, the special move damage. That's what he's kitted to be, beyond the support that Gresh was talking about. He is a burst damage unit for the early portion of the fight, and he's a nuker with his blue card. So it buffs blast attack, special move damage, and then additional damage for every strike attack for every Vegeta family member on the team, which ideally you're running him on Vegeta family, so that one probably makes the best use of what his kit wants.
Yeah, it's definitely really solid, yeah.
Like, even more so than all of the awakened ones that he has access to. All of the awakened ones that he has access to are not particularly good, except for maybe even the What Feudal Efforts, the third slot is based on movies. So, I mean, yeah, even the awakened equips, that none of them are really ideal for him. So I think the Vegeta one, the boundary breaking Vegeta, is probably his best in slot.
Yeah, I went through all of his items. Nothing really jumped out at me. Like I like the item You're Sure to Win, but it's not the best thing in the world. But that's the last one I would go for, because that's gonna be the little cherry on top with 13% more special damage. And I think if you get all three of those items that we mentioned, you guys will dramatically feel the increase on your damage. Like when you start adding these 10% per item instead of just hitting the audio equipment, because I know a lot of you do that. But if you guys hunt these items we're talking about down, you will feel it on your damage.
Sounds good. I think one thing we also want to talk about, of course, with him being a Rising Battle unit, and I already saw a bunch of people in chat ask, why are all Rising Battle units red? But we wanted to talk about the return of the concept of Rising Battle, and I think, Goresh, you also had a pretty specific opinion on the way they released it and the time gating that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so I'm sure many people aren't huge fans of how they did this, because the way they did this was, first of all, they time gated the actual event. So you couldn't actually complete the event for like 2 or 3 days since it released. And then on top of that, they had these missions, which is where you obtained the majority of the Z power from for Vegeta. And you couldn't even begin to complete those until you finished the entire event. So not only did they time gate the event, they time gated the mission. So it was double time gating. I think it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I feel like at the very least what they could have done is they could have allowed you to complete the missions while they were still locked. You just couldn't accept them until you finished collecting all the keys, right?
Kind of like how they do with the Zenkai missions they want you to buy.
Yeah, I don't know why it functions differently. Like, I don't know what the point of that is.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and then beyond that, something that's also relatively annoying is that they reduced the overall amount of chrono crystals you get from it, like well below 1,000. Like, it's not even nearly as many, but they're giving out a bunch of them in other ways. So I mean, it's maybe less noticeable, but still, it's a little bit painful. Less chrono crystal rewards.
But how many do we get from the missions then? Maybe they just moved them? Because you definitely get mission. Wait, you get 150 only. How many did you get from the event? Does anybody remember?
In terms of what?
It was like 300 or 400.
Oh damn! Because you get 150 chronos, limit breaking him to red 2, red 4, red 6.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like overall it was a total of I think 500 instead of 1,000.
Yeah, it wasn't. It definitely wasn't 1,000.
Okay, that sucks.
Like 400, 500, somewhere in that vicinity is the total you get.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, why do they even do the time gate? Is it because they want to spread out the content? Or is there
absolutely
100%? Because it's only why you're doing 50 fights in the first place.
Yeah.
Probably wanted to give us something to do so we could segue to the 20-second the video and stuff.
There's so much more intuitive ways that they could do this, right? So this is another pull up a chair if you're listening, devs. Instead of showing everybody what's available and then telling them you can't have this, instead of doing that, perhaps just release it in part 1, part 2, and part 3, and release the entirety of the part when you drop it, right? This could be like chapter 1, Rising Battle Vegeta, and it ends with a boss fight at stage 30, and you get all the rewards, you get everything that you can get from that. And then the following week, there's chapter 2, there's new bosses, like now the boss of this one is you're fighting Broly or something, or whatever. And they could make it episodic, and it doesn't feel like they're putting something in front of your face but then denying you from getting it, right? Just based on the way that they release it with a little bit better formatting.
Sounds like a glorified time gate, to be honest.
Yeah, that's literally what they're doing right now.
You don't know what you're missing out on if it's not sitting right in front of your face with a big red keypad and lock.
But we know.
I promise you're not getting a new model of Broly.
Stages, so it's not like no one's going to be like, "Oh, it's only 30 stages." I guess that's it. Damn.
No, but if they release it, it's more complete, right? Like, and it's not visually denying you access to it. I feel like
that's what part 2 teasers would be. Like, if you got part 1 and part 2's in 3 days or part 2's in a week, it's the same empty feeling. I just did 30 battles. I just beat Vegeta. Okay, that gave me 300 chrono crystals. They usually give 1,000, so I guess the next 700 is going to come in a week. Great.
It's just the packaging you present.
I understand. I know you're talking about the packaging of it. I agree that if they're going to drop it, just drop it. But I don't know. They've heard this criticism too many times. I'm sure they know that if they time gate it and they spread it out, that they get their viewers, their people that would play the game to come back to the game more than they would if they could just chunk it out at once.
Well, the thing about all of that is when it comes down to PvE events, they've tried a lot of stuff, right? They've done time gating, which I'm pretty sure we've all, voiced our opinions about that. They've tried releasing difficult events and, I've noticed that every method that they've attempted, apart from, I believe, the raid battles, have always been received fairly poorly, right? Because if it's not one issue, it's another, right? I don't even know at this point if there's an effective way that they can like make an event and have it actually garner like good reception. Again, apart from like the raid battles. Like I really wish that there was a way, but as of right now, I can't even think of anything. Because again, with time gating, people want to get the content early. If they withhold that information, people are going to be frustrated that, you know, hey, why didn't you tell us that this was going to happen? Or whatever the case may be. And of course, when it comes down to battles with difficulty, hey, this battle's too difficult. Like, make it easier or find a way to, you know, make it difficult while doing this. There's always something being thrown in there that makes it not enjoyable for the masses. So I don't know. The community
has no idea what it really wants at the end of the day.
Well, I have two things. I have two things to add. So number one, I think like actually if they're complaining about something that's so minusculely like something that you can't really criticize that heavily, I think it's actually a testament to how good it is. And then number two, I think the underlying issue is not that like the time gating stuff is annoying. It's that like the straight up PvE part of this game is just not fun for a lot of people. Like the actual gameplay when you're fighting a CPU in this game just doesn't feel fun for me, at least, and I know a lot of other people feel the same way. So I feel like if they were able to fix that part of the game and actually like create an AI that was able to interact with you the way that a lot of players are able to, I don't even know if that's possible. I'm just that's what I feel. Then people would stop complaining about these other little things like time gating and stuff like that, because they have other stuff to do in the game where you don't just log in for this one new event and log out, right?
Yeah,
I
That's
agree.
what I was also about to say, is that I think the root of the problem is if they want to spread it out to have more content, that means they don't have enough content, right? So the question is, what else can they give us that we have something to do where we don't, want to shoot ourselves? And I don't know, just have something that's maybe add something to the daily rotation, or no idea, have like a more frequent raids, or I also don't have a good idea, but yeah, I think it's just
the content should beat the players. Right now, it doesn't beat us. It's mindless. I don't think about what I'm going to go in. And I think most of the players they got this wall where the content is so difficult that they feel like it's impassable, that they just have to summon these units that are currently on the banners, or the content is stupid easy and you just go in there, grab your crystals, get out. I think where they can fix this is, maybe not build the content directly about the new players, or maybe they could have had some really wicked hard challenges that you could only do with this new Vegeta unit. So it'd encourage everybody to develop him and go experience this content since he's the key player in it. That would have been interesting. And then you can go to those full power Frieza levels of difficulty, maybe make it cost 0 energy for this unique event while it's up, right? And then maybe that could be the incentive to farm that part of the mission right now, is that it's 0 energy. You can go try to beat it. And then after first clear.
Actually,
I think Kuba, you wanted to say something, right?
Actually, yeah. So, okay. I've been saying this for the longest time when it comes down to events. Events are way too easy. Like, it may be like difficult to some people, but in a general retrospect, events are way too easy. And I say that because, for example, much like the event we just got this time around, it shouldn't ever be to the point where I can use one unit for every single stage and be able to win. It shouldn't ever be that easy, right? Like maybe for some, yeah, sure, but like in a general retrospect, that's how it usually is. And I don't think that's a good idea. Like there has to be some sort of challenge, so that way like it's actually fulfilling when you actually beat the enemy, or at least how I see it, right? And along those lines, hopefully you get rewards that coincide with that type of difficulty. Now, one other big issue is Legends, they kind of just throw all their eggs in one basket when it comes down to events. So like they'll throw out like one event and obviously they'll stretch it out for as long as possible. And because of that, it leaves us in a dry spell, right? Maybe, story mode is done, or they've released new units and we've already, used them like all over the place on PvP or whatever the case may be. When it comes down to PvE, there's nothing. We just have that one event and then we have to wait like 2-3 weeks before we get a new one. I think it's time for them to start making updates where we get more than just one main event, if you will, like 2 main events, 3 main events. At least that way, you have different types of content that offer different types of difficulty, and each of them respectively would be fulfilling, right? Like, as for example, you beat each event, you get 1,000 crystals per event, right? I don't know if they'll be that generous, but hopefully you guys, see what I'm saying. Just, there's other things too. It's like they only focus on one difficulty. We've only had despair mode, I think, either once or twice. Like, there's so much that they have to offer with PvE, and they are not taking advantage of it. And it's to the point where, like, even me, I'm starting to get bored with PvE, and I actually like PvE in this game.
Yeah, I think this goes back to my point earlier, though, where you were asking for harder content, but what does that mean in a game that isn't able to accurately capture like the enjoyment of playing against a bot or an AI in this game? Like, they can make the AI harder, but does that mean that they're actually going to be harder, or does that mean they're going to PV you more often, or does that mean they're just going to not take damage more often? Like, is it just artificial difficulty, or is it actually the bot is going to be harder to fight against?
I think that scripted fights and scripted events, and then if they give you a specific unit that only holds certain cards, right? It's like maybe you're playing with that old school red IT Goku, right? And he can dodge extra hits. So your boss is constantly launching off these hits that you can't dodge under typical circumstances. But if you save your green cards or use your green cards, you can keep timing it with that event. We got that baseball Yamcha event where they put special conditions. I think that's where they've got to be creative. They've got to give you a unit. They can change the circumstance. Maybe your Vanish Gauge comes back 100% faster, and you're playing like this DDR version of Legends suddenly. I don't know, but that's on the devs.
That's a good point too, because they can't just keep making these like normal events, because you're just gonna go in with your characters and like the bonus characters and just kill it every time. I think that's a good point. They could just make it so that every fight feels like different, and like you have to be completed under specific conditions, right?
Yeah, not the conditions being take 2 purple units and 1 level 1 unit. No, make the conditions here. You only get blue cards. Here's IT Goku. See if this is what you really want. They could make it interesting, but it's on them to be creative and not require us to use the units in our box. And I think that's where they're going to run into the impasse of that. They want to promote a new unit to be summoned, and then the way to actually have interesting new content is to don't let us run the same stuff. And then when you get stuff like that Full Power Frieza event, Goku was the new unit, but it was only enjoyable for the people that pulled Goku, or those people that just wanted to just push themselves to the very limit to beat it without him.
Yeah, I've said that in the past too. It's just like when it comes down to these events, like there's no reason to try to. Okay, well, obviously, they're going to try to promote new units and all that stuff, but they don't have to force it in the form of, okay, in PvE, it's highly recommended that you use this unit, because, like, realistically speaking, not everybody in this game is, wasn't pay to play, right? A lot of people are free to play, and unfortunately, a lot of people are sometimes unable to acquire the new units. So in doing so, some of the stages, like maybe like 40 or 50 or however high it may go, are sometimes impossible for people. It shouldn't be like to the point where you absolutely need a unit in order to make solid progression in a PvE event. They need to cut that out, because at the end of the day, if there's a new hype unit, people are going to be using them all over the place on PvP anyway. Like the unit is going to get utilized. So I don't think they need to force that down our throats in PvE. And in terms of the AI and how they function, let's be serious now. Like, the AI is super easy to understand at this point. Like, there are moments where I'm playing PvE and I'm literally passing out while I'm doing the event, because the AI is too easy to understand. Like, they really need to fix the script on the CPU, because it's too easy. It's literally brain dead at this point.
I mean, it's just you wait for them to attack. When you dodge, you use a blast card. They hit like 95% of the time. When you use a strike card, they dodge, right? And then you just use flow step and you combo forever pretty much. If you have a unit like Kefla or anyone with card draw, it just until they're dead. Or the unit
you know when he's going to PV you when he just stands there. You're like, oh, I see you're ready to PV me the second I attack. I already know you, AI. You can tell.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You go first.
Yeah, I don't know. And to just add, like, I don't see too many people complaining about the actual like story in this game. It's actually rather enjoyable. So if they could potentially format the release of these units in some type of way that mimics some of the relative success they've had with the story mode in this game, maybe things would be received a little bit better. Because, like, you know, you do part of the story, you know, it's time gated because you know there's more story coming, but it's not available yet. But they have those neat little intros and outros, and they have like little characters be like, oh, well, let's talk about what's about to happen next. Thanks for showing up. And they'll crack a joke, and then, I don't know, it's fairly neat. And I myself have never complained about the pacing of the story or the release schedule there. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some things they could borrow from that to spice up their event releases as well. I don't know.
I would say that they should probably start releasing more hard mode. Like, it's good that they released part 4 finally, but I mean, we're already about to be on part 9, and the latest, you know, hard mode's part 4. You know, like, release more hard mode difficulty. I think that'll also help because a lot of people balance the two between, you know, events and stories. So that would definitely help. And plus, also free crystals. So that's always a good thing.
So I really like the format, and I think they could use it, frankly, to advertise new units, but where you only pick one unit or you pick 2 units and they're forcing you to use a story mode unit. I think that could be a happy middle ground on launching new events. Like, we've all said it before, like, put in the 2nd anniversary where you got to fight with Trunks in them, like to kind of preview them. That just makes you want the unit even more, right? So I think more of that content would be well received as well.
But they'd have to be very careful with that, though, because, like, there is the other side where it's just like people might actually find fulfillment on utilizing the unit early like that, right? For example, within that time frame, you can learn the complete ins and outs of a unit, and if they decide, you know what, this unit really doesn't interest me, then they may not, like, you know, summon on a banner or whatever the case may be, and obviously that'll hurt sales, and that can spiral completely downward. So I would say that's a whole 50-50.
Okay, I think we can go on a lot of tangents here on how to make things better and what our thoughts are, but I think for the sake of time, we're going to move on. And the next topic we have is the Z-Power banner, or the new banner that we got, which is a step up, which lets you get 600 multi-Z-Power for Legends Limited units. Nas, brilliant or bait?
I mean, it's the best of both for them. This is the ultimate bait because it's undeniable value for every single player in the game, right? And it's discounted to 3,000 Chrono Crystals. And with all the Chrono Crystals they've been giving out recently, it's very, very difficult to say no to this. Even me, like, I spend almost nothing on the game, like maybe $10, $20 here and there when something hype comes out, and that's about it. And even I, after only like 15 minutes of deliberations, like, went in on this banner just because this multi-Z power for Legends Limited units by itself almost is worth it. But then they also give you 1,000 Z power for, you know, your regular Sparkings as well. Now, it is debatable the formatting in which you receive that 1,000 Z power, because you can only hold one of each of them, and they only last in the gift box for 6 days. I think that's a pretty slimy thing to do. Like, you should at least be able to hold on to them through, like, the end of the year. I mean, be kind of a nice, kind thing. Or just allow you to potentially hold all of them. Like, I don't understand why you can't. I mean, I do and I don't. Like, there's definitely scuzzy business tactics at work here behind the scenes to make you want to buy this and make you have to use it. And then the new characters come out and then you've already used most of it. So there's definitely a lot of factors involved here. But again, for anyone who takes the game any type of seriously, and you're not just trying to collect like one of every unit, this banner has incredible value. Just the freezy, like, my summons were terrible. Like, all the units I actually pulled were pretty bad. But just the Z power to hold on to is again, an incredible asset. It's like, if you go into this anniversary and you're holding onto the Z power and you pull, like, say it's Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Gogeta Blue, like, whatever the heck they come out with in terms of Legends Limited units, you'll have an instant extra 3rd star on that unit. Or if you get really unlucky on these upcoming banners, but say you really are enjoying your team with, like, UI Goku on it, and you only have him at 2 stars, then you can decide to invest it on him. So I'm really a fan of it, and I was under the impression this whole time that Legends Limited multi-Z power is going to become increasingly more available as time goes on. And that seems to be the case. Like, this could potentially be looked at as just free-to-play multi-Z power. Like, if you farm up 3,000 crystals, just completely free-to-play, you can get this now free-to-play. And as time continues to go on and more Legends Limited units come out, I'm going to continue to assume that these multi-Z powers are going to become increasingly more available. So I really like seeing them because it allows you to boost up those ridiculous 0.25% rates. Pretty sure that everybody else in the chat went through this banner as well. And when I say in the chat, I mean like in the podcast here. But if anyone has anything negative to say about it, definitely let me know, because I couldn't really think of too much negative.
It's only the 6-day limit. That's it. Having it for only 6 days.
Yeah.
That's the only negative that I could see to it.
Yeah.
Everything else about it was super positive for me, at least.
The only other thing I could even say are the units that are on here aren't super recent. Like, they're kind of up until the anniversary, and that's it. And there's so many sparkings on here that there's the rate is so diluted that you're not really ever going to expect to get anything good. But like you guys said already, you're not summoning on this banner for the units. You're literally summoning for the Z power, right?
Z power, yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I basically got Vados on this banner because I just used it all on her.
Yeah, exactly.
I would recommend, because I think we talked about this when the banner actually dropped. A lot of people kind of jumped the gun and summoned immediately. I would strongly recommend wait until the last day. Wait until the last day and then go in on the banner, because again, with that 1 week time limit to store them in the gift box, no. Like, we already know, like, we're going to be expecting something big later on next week, and that Z power can definitely come in handy. So if you guys haven't summoned on the banner but you want to, I strongly recommend wait till the last day.
Yeah, I think
I'm 100% on board with that. Unless you have a main team, like your Jiren is 3 stars and you're not going in again or something, and you really want to use Pride Troopers, your Topo's 10 stars or some crap. Okay, you can make exceptions like that, like I used for Vados and stuff. But Kuba's 100% correct. Wait as long as you can. Every single banner, wait as long as you can. Honestly, don't ever copy us and do first night. That's not a good idea.
So how often do you guys think we'll see this, or is this only for this event?
I think this is the first. It'll trickle out, and then it'll become more and more regular. Like, it'll mirror the way that the banner progression of the overall game has been, right? Like, in the first year, there was relatively no banners that had any type of guaranteed sparkings on them, right? But now we're starting to see all the rehash banners that come out with the guaranteed sparking per multi. You have the Z and GT banners that are live right now in the game that'll have guaranteed sparking. So similar to how that became more of a thing as the roster grew, I would anticipate that multi-Z powers, including these Legends Limited ones, will start to happen with an increasing frequency over time, right?
The last sort of iteration we saw of this type of banner was, I think it was in July for Tanabata, when they did the guaranteed LF step up, which was a guaranteed LF character, not Z power, which I guess you can argue is better in some ways but worse in other ways. Better in the way that if you don't have the unit, you can get them for the first time, but worse in that this gives you a choice to who you want to buff with just the Z power, straight up. Another instance we're going to see of this is in 10 days when they release the happy bags, but if they go off of what they did last year, it's going to be paid only, where they have the Legends Limited guaranteed happy bag thing. That's one summon for Legends Limited unit guaranteed, but it's obviously pretty expensive, which is why we're saying that this is such a good value, because you can only spend what is this, 3,000 crystals for a guaranteed 600. Yep. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to have this too often. Just saying.
Well, I mean, the way I see it is you can only hold 600 of the Z power at any moment. So if they're trying to prevent people from overstocking on this stuff, so when Golgita Blue comes out, they don't pull one copy and then 6-star them, call it a day. That option won't be available to you. It'll just kind of sit in your bank. So they can kind of gate people with that alone. And I don't know. You brought up that other banner, and I feel like this is a more refined version of that banner, because you can kind of pick and choose where you want your stuff to go. I prefer that personally, but
yep.
I don't know. I would like to see this every 3 months or so, and I'd pick it up every time to start chipping away at getting those red stars.
It also depends on how often they're going to start doing step-ups in LF units. Like, if they start releasing LF units, like, every 2 months or something, then these banners are probably going to become more frequent because they're going to try and, coax you into using the Z power more often, which means you're going to want more, and it's just going to feed into itself like that. So we'll have to see.
I mean, they could also go the opposite route, because I think somebody also said this earlier. I was partially paying attention, but it's the fact of they want you to summon on the banner at the end of the day, right? Like that's how they make their money. Like, I mean, guys watching in the stream right now, remember this is it's still a business. They still have to make money. So when it comes down to multi Z power, I really think we're not gonna get these unless it's like super rare occasions, like anniversary status or super hype unit, right? I mean, multi Z powers are helpful for us, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really do much for the actual developers, right? They want you to summon on the banner, which is why the time limits are so short, which still sucks, but it is what it is. Like, they have to make their money. So I don't think this is going to be like a common thing unless it's, again, anniversary status or crazy hype unit.
Yeah, this banner's only up for a week, by the way.
Yeah, it ends. I think it goes away at reset on Wednesday. After probably maintenance, and then it's gone.
Yeah, because I think that's what day after video and stuff. Yeah, sounds about right.
I mean, so keep in mind that sure, there's a time limit to everything, but if you only hold one of them, and for example, right now I don't have any, so I'm going to get that one 600 multi Z power and keep it. I managed to get my UI Goku from. I pulled 2 of him. I got him to 6-star because I held on to that Majin Vegeta multi Z power, and I got one more this time. So despite getting a bit unlucky, I still managed to get him to 6 stars. So, sometimes playing the long game helps. And I think we're going to move on. There's one topic that I just want to touch on real quick, is that now we can actually do dailies on Zenkai banners. And personally, I think that's great, because now you can get 70 or 100 Z power, which is the most common case, every day. And what I would do now, for example, with Vegeta, who I only have at Z1, I'm going to do dailies until pretty much the very last day, and then just fill up whatever I didn't get, because that's pretty much a discount. I mean, if you're not in a hurry to Zenkai these units, just do the dailies until they're Z7. For me, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do the dailies every day, and then the day the banner goes away, or before the banner goes away, I'm just going to finish them up. What do you guys think?
I also think it's an amazing addition, because generally you'll get 100. Sometimes you get the shaft and you'll get 70 Z power, but generally you'll get 100. And if you get real lucky, you get the 1500 for 20 chrono crystals. I'm a little bit saddened by the fact that it's only Bardock and the old Vegeta. I wish they just blanket done it across all the Zenkai banners. Understandably, they want to cash in a little bit on this new Red Gogeta while he's brand new and fresh, but I think it would have been a very nice gesture towards the player base if they had just gone ahead and made it, all Zenkai banners for the rest of forever mimic, the regular banners in terms of daily summons. So.
But let's see, maybe that was just a revamp from Vegeta, and that's, basically it came out after Gogeta, and maybe the next new Zenkai will have it.
Yeah, I think all the banners that return after this are going to have it. But I think as a general rule, if you're somebody who has the unit at 7 stars, you should be doing the dailies on these every day. Again, Zenkai units are the best units in the game by far. So if you have Bardock at 7 stars and you're like, oh, should I do the daily on this Zenkai banner, or should I do the daily on some other banner that's up at the same time? Definitely prioritize the Zenkai banners instead if you're trying to pick one or the other.
And you can still pull the 1500 on the daily, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Very rare, but it can happen.
Get lucky.
Yeah, but I mean, a level and a half or 20 CC, I'll take it.
Yeah, who wouldn't? All right, I think we can. That's what I said. I just want to briefly touch on it. The next topic, Ryuden, you brought that one up. There's a new awakening for Red Movies Equip. So.
Yeah, so I mean, there's not much to cover. They awakened that God Goku equip right there, and it's pretty good.
He's muted. Anybody else want to take over real quick?
Oh, sorry about that. I was muted. I completely forgot. I apologize for that.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It happens all the time. You always forget. But like I was saying to myself, they awakened that God Goku equip. It's pretty good. I didn't have a difficult time getting a good first slot for this one, and I think that's the case for most, but the second and third slot are pretty bad. It's
I just did 30 of these, and I got one that was an S, and they're all green.
There's
I think I got my red slot on number 6.
Prof was talking about it, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'll do this real quick while we're doing this. And I just did 30 of them, and I was
it's
like,
weighted
I hate
far
myself
more
now,
on the
so I'm
second and third slot, I noticed. Like, I think for my first slot, I have it at like 11%, but the second and third slot, I have gold nodes, and I was able to Z tier the equip. So at least you don't have to worry too much about that. But yeah, it's a good equip. Solid red movie saga units. Your red Golgita would definitely appreciate something like this because, you know, special move damage, blast, or strike attack. That's the only crappy part, that third slot. You better hope you're getting the one that you want. I was hoping I'd get blast attack, but I ended up getting strike, so I got to roll another one.
All right. Any is that only for red Gogeta? You probably also could use that with the red.
Oh, sorry.
Gogeta.
Maybe I should have clarified. It's for red
You can
movie
use it
saga
on-
units, but I was thinking like for the key units that you're probably thinking of using it on. It's probably for the Coat Vegeta as well as this guy. But yeah, you could throw it on Coat Vegeta. It's pretty good. It's a welcomed awakened equip.
It has special damage, so Red Janemba can use it as well.
Yeah, Tapion also.
They've scaled off a bit, but they're still respectable units. And I think when we get some Zenkais coming down the pipe, they'll come back to the forefront.
Yes,
This is definitely worth farming.
Just so we can see the list of characters. That
It'll have the
it.
full list of people that have it, I think. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I'm
so,
farming
like,
it for my Saiyaman.
EX Gogeta, right? I guess if that Broly gets a Zenkai, the Fury Broly, which is
Metal
possible.
Cooler.
Right? Yeah, Metal Cooler. Good joke.
That makes
It
Brad
wouldn't
happy.
be awful on Fusion 13, but he's not really super usable right now. Wouldn't
Yeah.
be bad on Sandman 1 and 2 either.
I mean, I've been saying for a while that I think that Broly might get a Zenkai because of the fact that if we're getting all this the Broly movie stuff with Gogeta potentially coming as well, like he might be the first Rising Battle Zenkai and then be feed into the other ones that are eventually going to get stuff as well. So it would be a good equip for him if he gets one. So this equip has a lot of uses though, just overall. Like there's a lot of units that can make use of this.
And yeah, the issue with it though, it's pretty universal because it could be either or on the final slot, but it's just that, guys. It's either or. So if you're going to be hunting the Z, that this might be painful. Like Ryuden said, he's already hit his Z, but he didn't hit the type he wanted, so he has to go back in on it again.
It's a suffering from success moment.
Yeah, for me, the whole equipment awakening thing is like, I'd rather just spend my rush medals on Zenkai souls that I know for sure I'm going to be able to use, right?
Oh, I see the equipment section of the game as like almost more
Cancer.
intense than the summoning.
Yeah. Oh, getting Z equipment in this game is just ridiculous, man. Christ.
I hit 104, 105 like 2 days ago finally.
I still have like 6. That's it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how you guys get so lucky. I can't do it, man. I will re-roll and like I'll get up to S and like that's as good as it ever gets. I'm just like, all right, bro, I give up. I'll just move on to the next one.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, speaking of going on to the next one, we have 2 more topics, and one of them is the Zenkai booster missions for Bardock returning. I think that was also brought up by Ryuden. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, there's nothing really too much to say. Just like any other one of these banners, it's just if you care about the unit, you never had him at 7 stars, then he's there for you.
It's just really freaking annoying that the bugged out missions are back. Like, the red numbers won't go away. I'm not buying these missions, and it's just 10 missions. You have 10 missions.
Wait, hear me out. They're the same missions though. This got me kind of excited because I skipped the Super Saiyan 3.
You did.
And it really,
what?
and I skipped this guy too, frankly, which is why I know this worked. Well, I don't have unlimited crystals, man.
Bro.
But I plan on getting him when he returns. I fell in love with UI, but that's a different topic. When this banner returned, all the missions were already completed for me, and that tells me that it's the same mission as before. I can just see it again now, at least on my account. And so I'm excited for them to rerun. You know, if you missed a banner, I missed the Super Saiyan 3 missions. I plan on buying those when they come back. this tells me that there's a good chance that that set of missions in its entirety will return.
It
one
would
thing
not
that-
surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, just to add on to Nas's point, what annoys me is I see the 15 missions done, but my Bardock is at 7 Zenkai 7 maxed out at 14 stars, so I have no use for them. Please don't show me that 15. I'm never going to buy them anyways.
Yeah,
because-
same. It's like read the room, bro. I already did this.
Wait, don't you get
want
Z
those
medals though?
Do you want them?
Well, the
Well,
funny
there's a
thing,
guild mission coming up, or a guild event.
the funny thing.
Oh
about
yeah,
this
for
is,
2000 CC, dude.
The
Jesus.
funny thing about this
Pay me.
is that the newer sets of these missions don't have that bug, but this one still does. So they just fixed the newer ones and didn't bother to go back and fix these older ones. They were just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's just this Bardock one. This was the only one. This was bugged the first time it was out, where it just wouldn't go away, and then they just said it's like
Yeah,
Fallout
they-
76.
They just didn't
It's
care.
also
They were just
worth
like, whatever.
noting that they changed the end date for this banner. It was originally sometime January, but they changed it to the 23rd of December. So if you're somebody that actually cared for the unit and was just waiting till the last day to see, just keep that in mind. Maybe that hints to another Zenkai on the 23rd too. Different banners can replace this one. Yeah,
Yeah, it's called Golgita.
or PyCon. May as well
Yes.
say Zenkai PyCon.
Dual Dokkan
Yeah,
Fest.
perfect.
I mean, what? All right, so I think it's time for us to ramble a little bit. You all know that there is a video and stuff coming up on Tuesday at 5:15 a.m. Poor Pacific time zone inhabitants. It's 8:15 a.m. in Eastern, and that means it's 2:15 in Central European time. So, Goresh, what do you think we're going to see on there?
We should see like one free-to-play unit, and that's it. Right?
It's probably the Code
agree.
Goku,
Sounds about
honestly. That's it.
Free hero.
They're gonna overhaul the Blue Star system, and they're gonna show that to us.
Or
Yeah.
21 stars.
No, I mean, this is like, again, they didn't even do a video and stuff for the Super Saiyan 4s last year. So I think that tells you everything you need to know about what we're going to see here, right?
But did they do video and stuff before
Yeah,
the Super
Frieza.
Saiyan 4s in general, or did they only start that concept afterwards, maybe?
No,
I
because we had
forgot
one for,
actually.
No, we did. We had these before that, I think.
Because maybe they weren't so frequent. So I don't know if it's reading too much into it or if it's really, appropriate. I just feel like they didn't have them so frequently at that period of the game. Maybe.
Nah, this is.
I mean, it's so beyond painfully obvious what's
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Like, if you can't comprehend that Gogeta Blue is coming based off all these DBS units, Broly movie that we're getting, it's like, come on, man. Like,
What do you mean? LF Paragus.
yeah, it's so painfully obvious that this is what they're doing, and that's fine. It's about time. Like, everyone complained about it and memed the hell out of Legends for the first 2 years because the last game to put out Gogeta Blue, like, they were specifically avoiding it. But if you just kind of look at the pacing, the meta, and the development of the game, it kind of made sense because, like, they weren't going to release Gogeta Blue before they released, like, the Super Saiyan Blues of Goku and Vegeta, right? Like, when the DBS movie came out, we didn't have very many Super Saiyan Blue units in the game at all. So the pacing wasn't there, the power creep wasn't there. Like, Zenkais didn't exist at all, really, like when the DBS movie first came out 2 years ago. So now the game has seasoned, the roster is ready for him. Like, he can actually fit into the game and be as powerful as they want him to be without him getting power crept as quickly and just seeming really out of place. So
Yeah,
there's
watch him-
no way.
Watch him be
There's no way.
watch him be the first Legends Limited Extreme unit so that they can lower the rating.
You know what I'm concerned about? The community's been memeing this character for so long that when he finally comes, it's just gonna leave this void. They're like, oh, what do I say now? What do I meme now? He's here.
No, are you kidding me? It's
Oh,
Super Saiyan
yeah,
4
that's
Gogeta.
true.
They're already talking about it.
I mean, first of all, everybody who started memeing it 2 years ago or legitimately saying he's coming, they're gonna say, "I told you so."
Watch.
That's the
He's
first
coming.
thing.
Every
my
single
my
celebration.
my
Yeah.
concern is the last unit that met the community's expectations of hype equal to power was
Watch him
Vegito
suck.
Blue.
I'd say UI Goku's pretty good.
UI Goku's
Yeah.
amazing, but I'd say like 98% of the community doesn't understand. I guess they do, but they don't. Like, everybody just talks about how squishy they are. They don't talk about the triple vanish.
Yeah.
But I when Vegeta Blue came out, everybody just, this is God, right? And so I have a feeling he's going to be that level of busted again. Like when there'll be undeniable. This is it. This is the best unit.
Yeah, and again, this goes back to the same argument we had when he released, which was, they have to make him the best unit in the game, which means he's got to be better than all these Zenkai units. And now we even have more powerful Zenkai units than what we had at that point in time. Like we have Gohan, we have Namek Goku, we have 18. Like this Gogeta has to be better than all of them in order for like him to quote unquote meet the expectations. And if that's the case, like people are gonna definitely complain about him for sure. So get ready.
But again, it's that double-edged sword because again, he literally has to be busted. Yeah. Like there's no way around it, right? But I mean, if he wasn't busted, people would absolutely be disappointed. So it's like it's kind of like what we have to like live with. It's just like he has to be broken, otherwise people won't be satisfied. Like, what's the point? So
whoa! I see a comment in chat. There's no way they make him better than Gohan. All right, save that.
In before, like he's actually better than Gohan.
Well, at least this guy didn't say he's going to eat his own doo-doo.
Oh
yeah, I remember
that. This guy was fun. Yeah, but aside from everybody's talking about Gogeta Blue, are you expecting anything else regarding units or game modes or events or anything else?
I was going to say, like, honestly, I think, and this isn't really a stretch, but it'll be cool if we actually get to see it, right? We've known that this was in development for a while, but I think that we might finally get like our first look at GVG. I think that'll be freaking great, but
well, they are doing the guild season of PvP, right? That's what's coming.
Oh, I'm hyped for that because I think I was told they're gonna judge it based on category, so you can farm battle points instead of worrying about summons. So like my crew over in Academy, we are going to be going all in on grinding PvP and co-op together. And I bet a bunch of other people are going to be kind of hyped that there's going to be different measurement systems for these cool titles.
Yeah.
This is what it took. This is exactly what it took. I announced in my stream that we're ignoring all other games for the next 2 weeks or however long this event is. We're going all in. We're gonna hit that PvP queue. We're going into co-op, and we're gonna put a smile on our face as we look at that title.
And then here you got like all the other guilds, and just be like,
and not gonna lose.
I tried. Yeah.
I would anticipate we're gonna be seeing. Okay, so to preface, like everyone who's a naysayer that I've seen on Twitter, right, is like, oh, they won't do Gogeta Blue and Broly and all these units because they'll save them for the anniversary. Like, no, pause, stop. New Year's is like 10 times bigger in Japan than the individual game's anniversary. They're going to be pumping out all types of good stuff. Like, hopefully we'll have 1 or 2 more free units like this Vegeta. Like, we need the Saab Goku to go with him first and foremost. So that'd be cool if they introduced him as well. We need, obviously, like, some representation of Broly. We're getting the Frieza. It would be good to have a Paragus. Like, if they're going to go DBS Broly, they might as well, come out with at least, like, 3 or 4 new units. Like, look at the UI Goku banner. It had UI Goku, Topo, Dispo, and Jiren on it. That was 4 new units for Black Friday. New Year's is, again, like, 10 times bigger than Black Friday in Japan. So I have a hard time believing they're not going to like one up, and we're not looking at least 5 or 6 new units coming to the game. Again, I don't know exactly who they're going to be, but I don't see that not being the case, right? Like, this is the biggest holiday of the year in Japan, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And also the biggest thing you got to understand about New Year's in Japan is that people literally receive money for New Year's.
Yeah, that's the custom, is to give and receive money, right? Yeah. So the game.
Wait, how do I receive my money from Toshi? I've given him money. How do I get it back?
Like kids receive money for New Year's in Japan. Like it's called Toshidama. It's like an allowance that you get for New Year's from like
Toshi?
It's like a traditional.
It's called Toshidama?
Yeah.
Oh snap, bro! It's all coming together, dog.
Toshi means a year. So
I'm gonna start calling him year from now on.
Like that universal sigh, though.
The reason why all these games always go so hard for New Year's is because they know people, like the kids and like young adults have money to spend on these games at that point in time. So they're like, okay, well, I guess we'll just put out our most hype stuff at this point, and everyone will spend on the game. So there.
And then we could potentially even go another layer deep into this, especially because you're here, Gresh, and you play both games. Like, we already got a teaser of, well, we have an idea of what's coming in Legends just based off all this DBS Broly stuff. And then we got the V-Jump for Dokkan being like PyCon and Janemba, which is uncharacteristically like not as hype as what you'd think. So is there any universe where like Dokkan knows what Legends is about to do and they're just not even trying to compete with the hype and they're just going to give the floor to Legends for this holiday? Like, and then they can just pick it back up for their 6-year anniversary, like a month later.
End of January.
Yeah, it's pretty uncharacteristic of Dokkan to just not capitalize on New Year's like they usually have in the past, for two reasons. Because of what I just talked about with the customs in Japan, and then number two, with the anniversary a month later, they want to make sure everyone's like going into the anniversary having to buy stones. So I think it is possible, yeah.
So yeah, I'm expecting some fire. Of course, just to throw in a little plug here, we will be covering this video and stuff live here on Twitch at 5:15 in the morning Pacific time. It's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be seeing you guys, like around 8 in the morning, 22nd, 7 in the morning if you're West Coast. And we will be here on Twitch going over this live with y'all, reacting, and then a little commentary after the fact to kind of digest what we get from this. So plan to see us then as well.
Fair enough. I think that's a good transition because we're pretty much at the end of our topic. So we will take a short break, then we will move on to the questions. Again, if you haven't already done so, check out our link tree. Check out all our social media accounts. We have a Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Reddit, Facebook. We have TikTok and Instagram. And if you want your questions on the podcast, make sure to keep your eyes peeled on our Twitter account. Every Friday before the podcast, we post a thread. Answer with your questions that you want us to answer. And we will be right back in 3 minutes. But also, thank you for the 4 gifted subs already. Battle more. You're the GOAT.
Yeah, and we had
much appreciated,
a couple others to shout out. I got Osman cheering a few bits. Then we have Taco Cat Backwards, has a 2-month resub. Appreciate you, dog. And Suku subscribed with Prime, Twitch Prime, not a crime. Appreciate you as well, dog. And I guess we'll Jose Molina cheered 30 bits. Appreciate you too as well, sir. But yeah, we'll be right back. We'll
see you then.
We are back.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a nice break. We sure did. And now let's go over to our questions from Twitter. The first one is from one of our regulars, Ryan Talukter. Shout out to you. You're in the chat. I've seen you here. And the question is, do you think defense-type units should ever be given double endurance?
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
No.
Well, how would that work, right? Because if you have a unit with 2 endurances, like say it's not like the Cell Endurance 2.0, right? And you have 2 endurances, but you get hit with a Vegito Blue Ultimate that nullifies endurance. Does it just nullify both of them straight up and you just die?
Yeah,
I would think so.
It would have to.
The only way I see it working is if it's like the Super Kaioken Goku, where he pops his green card and he gets endurance, and then you have endurance beyond that, I guess. I wouldn't think double endurance. I could think something like cheeky like that could work.
Like that would make him automatic meta by default. Like you could tank 2
Oh,
rising
you would
rushes.
you'd be in it, yeah.
Well,
I could
think
see
that
them doing something like a regular endurance with an endurance 2.0 together, but the unit that has the endurance 2.0 is going to die in like 2 hits to anything, right? Like that's the only way that's going to be balanced.
I think if you had a double endurance like this, as long as you didn't make a stipulation, like you have to, like ignoring the endurance wasn't in the deck. Like since there's already a plethora of units that can just straight up, they don't care about your endurance. I don't see it being too big of a problem, honestly. They set the healing, so it's only healing 10%. It's only soaking an extra Strike Arts card, right? It's not that big of a deal at the end of the day. I still think the true endurance you get from Revival Cell would have more value than a double endurance bar.
Yeah, I feel like they're just gonna go down the path of using that mechanic instead of doing double endurance. And I don't think they're gonna use that mechanic super often because of how oppressive it can be. You have like multiple units on the same team with that same mechanic, right?
Yeah, and that's just gonna be a disaster.
Imagine they're going to mix it and give it, first you get a revival and then you get endurance on that second bar.
There's a limited amount of units that even canonically would be able to do that, right? It's kind of limited to, as crappy as it sounds, like they would all end up on the regen team for the most part, because you'd have like Boo, Cell, Metal Cooler, who they just skipped. They like didn't give him that when they totally could have. Like, there's not too many. Obviously, there's like no good guys or Saiyans that have the ability to come back from literally nothing. So,
Well, there's like all the bad guys that have supposedly been down for the count that get back up. I mean, the most notable is like Frieza. He doesn't have regen, but that sucker should have died like 3 times.
Yeah. Well, what about Broly? Because like the Broly from movie 8 going into movie 10, like it's the same Broly. He just like didn't die, right?
Yeah, so they could totally have these units that were supposed to be gone and come back, you know, and they could even be cheeky with it and have normal cooler, have them say a voice line and go into metal cooler. Like it doesn't have to be a straight typical transition you would normally expect, you know?
But then therein lies the problem, like Goresh said, is if you just start arbitrarily giving it to units who you thought were dead, but then they're actually not, then there's too many units that have it, and then you get a team with like 3 of them, and then your game experience is shit.
Well, the key is to make sure they don't all end up on the regen team. If Frieza got one, that's going to be LOE, you know, Lineage of Evil, whatever. So you don't make sure, you know, Metal Cooler doesn't get the same treatment, because then you start having a problem. But if you get this weird Broly has it, Frieza has it, and Cell has it, and you're that guy that wants to run the 6 HP bar team, I mean, go for it. But they're probably all made of paper, right?
Powerful opponent, maybe.
It would be a difficult thing to balance, but I do think the future has endurance units still coming, but probably not doubled up, right? I don't think that they'll have. Hopefully, they'll come up with a new game mechanic, like they just came up with the auto dodge that UI Goku has, right? There's nothing stopping them from coming up with a whole bunch of new shit like that for all these different characters, right? So hopefully, we see some new stuff. And not just, we're out of ideas, so let's give this unit double endurance, right? So I put my money in hoping for new passives and abilities instead of just rehashed old ones over and over and over and over again.
All right. With that, we will move on to the next question. And that question comes from Chad Ketchy, asking, what color would you want Golgita Blue to be? Personally, I think him being yellow would be the best color for the game, since a lot of CMCs on lack a good yellow.
Yeah.
And or have very few
yellows.
Goresh.
Yeah. This is what Goresh says all the time.
Yeah. Yellow's the worst color in the game, just period. Not even counting his teams, right? I think even if there were good yellows for his teams, I think even in that case, you would still want him to be yellow just because the lack of yellow in the game overall. Like, the best yellow on God Key is Champa. And then after that, like, who else is yellow? Like, Blue Kaioken Goku, I guess, is the next best yellow unit.
Yeah.
Movies? Like, who is the best yellow unit in movies? Is it Yellow Gohan? I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they have to make him blue just because. Just chaos.
Nah. I mean, on Fusions, you have Yellow Vegeta who's still good, but you got to make him yellow.
Well, hear me out. If they make him yellow, they can Zenkai PyCon.
Yeah, you're right. They could.
Ouch.
What?
The yellow, the super old PyCon.
PyCon buffs yellow movie units.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the original PyCon?
Yeah, OG PyCon. Dude, Red PyCon don't need a Zenkai. He clapping left and right. What else would I be talking about?
Yeah, just ask Goresh or ZBG.
But
I
like,
don't think they're gonna Zenkai Yellow PyCon anytime soon because he's not gonna generate any type of money for them.
I don't know, man. It's like I see him being a yellow unit because it makes complete sense, right? But again, like Goresh just said, bro, we still got to deal with units like, you know, Zenkai Gohan, who's gonna run through any unit in the game. Then you also have now Zenkai Gogeta, who's also a powerhouse but also a red unit. And even though, you know, I'm pretty sure obviously, you know, Gogeta and Gogeta Blue, they would synergize with each other because, you know, Fusion Warrior and whatnot. But then obviously if you're going up against an opponent, all they have to do is just bring out Zenkai Gogeta because nobody in their right mind is going to run Fusion Warrior without that Gogeta. So I don't know, man.
They could do a big brain play and make him green because that would mean people would go back and summon for UI Goku because he's good. Does extra damage against Fusion Warriors, and if he's obviously green, he's at type advantage.
And then you need to make a choice whether you see him or Kefla on the team, and that gets rid of another really obnoxious character.
Yeah, but keep in mind, because the UI Goku banner is still up until I think it's January 12th. So they still want to make a reason for you to summon on that banner too. So and a way to do that is make him green,
I could see him be yellow or purple just because Fusion Warriors need those the most.
Yeah. What about red?
What about no?
See, I don't want that either, but I thought about red too because we just got Super Gogeta who could buff him then.
He would get double Zenkai bench. He does. I am almost certain. Like I would like him to be yellow or green. Green, I guess he would receive the Broly Zenkai bench, but I feel like they're gonna want to make sure he slides on in and is meta, and maybe knocks a certain Gohan out of his spot for good. Like,
would they make Blue Gogeta blue again?
Please don't.
No.
There's so many.
Because I don't think they're going to try to knock out Vegeta blue like that.
Blue Saiyans. Let's not go down that route again. I'm okay.
Yeah, I don't see another blue, but I feel like if he dropped in as red, he wouldn't tread on too many units, and then he kind of slide I don't know. You brought up the Kefla point. I don't see them making where you don't want to run Kefla anymore. Yellow seems very possible. I would like it to be yellow, but I mean, I was joking about PyCon. What would buff him at that point?
What?
Yellow,
yeah.
Just a full fusion bench? I wouldn't even be bringing Zenkai units. I would just go straight raw fusions. Or God Key, I guess, if you have a really strong God Key team. Because, he's going to have the triple Z ability, right? Where he's going to do, at 2 stars, he only buffs fusions. Then you pick up 3 stars, he buffs fusions and movies. And then you get him all the way to 6, and he'll do fusions, movies, and God Key, right? I totally see something like that happening.
And at 14
I'm pretty sure
stars,
yellow is. I'm pretty sure yellow is the most. Is it the most underrepresented Zenkai color?
Yes.
Give
I think so.
BKB,
Yeah, by far.
BKB 18.
And Kid
Goku
Goku.
Black.
Oh yeah, Goku Black, right? And then Kid Goku as a free-to-play one.
And also the guess EX Vegeta, but who cares?
Yeah, we're not talking about.
I would like him to be yellow. I feel like he'd come out red.
Actually, purple I think is the most underrepresented.
I could just see him be yellow or purple. And if your concern is he could use some Zenkai buffs, then it wouldn't pass me if they Zenkai awaken that Super Vegeta.
Please not.
I mean,
purple,
it's going to
man.
happen sooner or later.
Purple is always the hype unit.
But fusions need it.
Wait, so if they decided to make him red, right? What unit would they actually okay, what unit do you guys think they would actually take out for what is the core of Fusion Warrior?
Yellow.
The yellow Vegeta makes the most sense.
Well, also keep in mind that there's only one yellow LF unit, which is Piccolo, who's arguably the least usable one right now. So
Zenkai Piccolo, please.
shut up.
Yes, everybody has him at 2 stars, so.
That's a double whammy. You were just talking about underrepresentation in the Zenkai category and Legends Limited category. I mean, it's a bargain bin right here.
More banners first.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I wouldn't be opposed to the Zenkai LF Piccolo. It's just they got to make him useful and available, right?
Well,
the ticket exchange banner. I mean, come on.
Who
That's
has
available.
5,000
Has those
tickets?
in the quantities. Nobody, because you cap at 2.5.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I think before we go off track, let's move on to the next question. And the question comes from Nikhil Mullah, asking, what teams do you think could use an extreme event type thing like Super Warriors and Ginyu Bootcamp?
The entire Turles squad.
Bardock squad would have been nice. I know that they're summonable, but I mean,
yeah, I was about to say those new Rival Universe units we got. That'd be awesome. It'd give people a little bit more accessibility to them.
I want a team of 5 different colored Cell Juniors to go with a Cell. They could each have different card art on them. All sparking.
The Spice Boys, and then release Sparking Garlic Jr.
complete silence.
Spice Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, the Spice Boys are his henchmen.
I was trying to think of boy bands. Like, thought where he was going to go with this, and then Garlic Jr. came out, and I was just stumped.
Yeah, Garlic Jr. I want a Legends Limited Garlic Jr. who transforms from his little pea state into the giant hulking state, and then his Legends Limited or legendary finish is the Dead Zone, just sucks people into a black hole.
And then in the dub, his henchmen are called the Spice Boys.
Yeah, that is mandatory. Like, why no Dragon Ball games ever give Garlic Jr. a shade of attention is beyond me.
Because he doesn't have glowing hair.
There it is.
He's not a Saiyan.
Yeah.
I don't care. He's like the Hulk, and he's awesome.
I like him.
Well,
maybe he'll return in Super.
just get enough people to like him, and they might change their mind.
I don't want him coming back in Super.
Wait, isn't Legends like one of like 2 games where you can actually fight as Chilled though?
Yeah, Jill. I mean, again, nobody cares about him, but yeah.
Well, I
Wait,
mean,
what was the other
I
one?
want to fight as what is this, King Cold and King Vegeta someday.
Yeah, King
Bro,
Cold,
we
I'm
haven't been
actually
able to
surprised
play
is
with
not
him
in the
since
game.
Tenkaichi.
I'm surprised that King
Yeah.
Cold is not in the game yet, to be honest. Like,
King Cold and a Mecha Frieza. We need both of them.
yeah.
That's true.
But for more extreme ones, I mean, a lot of that stuff comes from like all the little teams of Saiyans and Frieza Force and little groupings. Like, is there even? I mean, you could do the Shadow Dragons, like for all the bullcrap Shadow Dragons that don't really deserve a sparking form.
That would actually be really fun.
I've been saying.
Well,
Yeah,
they're
the
leading
mul-
into that. I feel like with the EX Shenron, right? He freaking does Shadow Dragon X. You get more strike attack just for Shadow Dragons, so they're
Yeah, so
leading
we need
slightly into that.
We need the Mole one. We need Novo. We need East. We need.
I'm okay without the Mole one. He can stay out. It's not a huge deal.
Well,
But
when you need all of them, if you're doing a full EX,
I'll take
event
Ice
type-
and Nova, and I'd
Well-
actually be okay.
No,
I
would say-
guarantee you, if they give that mole a good kit, you're gonna start respecting the mole.
Yeah, and beyond.
I mean, I did
that-
it with GT Goku, bro. Like when he came out, I hated GT Goku, and then I was like, oh, I actually love GT Goku.
Like, this is an event where you get all 6 units for free. So don't you poo-poo on, like, oh, I just want 2 of them. Like, no, fuck you. We need all 6 of them.
I
No,
would
but-
take 2 of them and be okay with it. I'd be all right. I want
That's
all of them, but
that's-
I'd be
I would
okay
be-
with it.
I'm gonna be honest with
I was
you guys.
making a joke to roast the mole one, bro. It's all
Go
right.
ahead,
Ain't
Kuba.
that real?
No, we need them all.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If we do get Shadow Dragons, like, honestly speaking, well, apart from Omega and Sin, right? There's only 2, maybe 3 that are honestly gonna be sparking units. 2 guaranteed is Ice and Nova, and the
Yeah.
third one, maybe if they feel like it, would be Oceanus. That's really it. So I'm not sure if they're gonna do like a whole like EX like Shadow Dragon team, unless they. Well, I mean, anything's possible.
But
so.
I mean, there is a sparking Ginyu,
I'm just
right?
thinking of, like, groupings of characters that fit the theme that could be used in this type of event, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that you could do like a Red Ribbon Army themed one from Dragon Ball too.
That's a
where
good
you
idea.
have, like, you got the.
Wait, whoa. What about Demon King Piccolo and then his demon clan, his demon children? Like tambourine,
Yeah.
drum, cymbal.
Yeah, that'd be dope too.
You don't want sparking versions instead. I mean,
But yeah, Red Ribbon Army and then the Demon Clan.
Tambourine was literally the character that introduced like main characters dying in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, he killed Krillin,
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah, he did. Like before that, no major like main character died in the
Oh,
series.
someone just said Bacterian in chat. Maybe something like the World Tournament side characters, like Ranfan, and then I don't know. Now
I think people would be
Namu,
upset
whatever his
just
name
for
was.
them wasting like development time on that.
well, they have like the untransformed versions of like the Rival Universe characters, like Akunsa and all of them, and then we have like base form Kale and all that.
Yeah.
They could have a whole series of units that are just, for, the current tags. They're just EX.
Could be.
Yeah.
I think it's
There's lots of little groupings that they could use. Like, even they could do, like, Jocko. They could do a little Space Patrol themed one, even though they're not really caught up with where the manga's at and stuff. But that being said, like, they should do more of these events. And you could pick a plethora of different groups that they could do it with.
Well, they could Zenkai the Bardock squad. I'm waiting for
Ginyu
that.
Force.
If they get the same treatment the EX Frieza Force units got, then the Bardock squad will be real nifty here in the future.
I want the Ginyu Force more than that, but that's maybe just me. Okay, I think we can move on to the next question. The next question comes from Pascal, asking, what is your most timeless unit, excluding Zenkai buffs? Going on to say that personally, they would choose Yellow Future Gohan or Hit. What do you guys think for yourself?
EX Whis.
Surprisingly, Zenkai, Super Saiyan 2, Teen Gohan. Go.
Oh, but he
My
asked-
favorite character in all of
and
Dragon Ball.
Without Zenkais?
I think without Zenkai buffs.
Oh crap! Without, God dang it. Well, that takes out a lot of characters because the next one would have been Golgita, but he just got a Zenkai. So,
It's tough, actually.
Yeah. I think.
I mean, for the longest time, it was Yellow Perfect
Yeah, that's what I
Cell,
was about to
but
say.
then
He aged really well.
I'll say EX Broly.
I would say Mai.
Mai is
Yeah,
actually
Mai
really
still
good.
has a ton
She's
of value.
actually solid.
You can
like,
still use her, actually.
Yeah, 100%.
I know Legends OP would say X Mai. It's like all the double buff stuff. But yeah, we don't talk about that here, I guess. For me, also, I think it would have been Yellow Cell for the longest time. Or maybe Super Vegito. He's still kind of usable, though he's falling off with damage.
yeah, I don't know. It's like scrolling through my teams. I don't actually use like too many old units. I think the oldest unit I have on any one of my teams right now is actually Mai. I use her mostly as a bench for the HP buff, but she's literally like the oldest character that's not a Zenkai that's on any of my pre-built teams right now is Mai. I guess that Mai and the Yellow Perfect Cell because I still have him on my androids team right now.
So am I alone in thinking that EX Whis is still a beast?
No, he's good.
I
Obviously
just never
still
really
really-
used him.
He actually is really solid still. I used him last night, literally, with Vados and
Yeah.
UI Goku, and it's good.
Since I never got Beerus in any type of usable state, I just always preferred Saiyans builds for God Key. So, I mean, he's real good. I mean, I'm not denying that, but yeah, I never really used him too much.
I love his team heal, a little bit of support damage, and then the extra green card.
Yeah, the extra green card is his main attraction, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh yeah, that extra
I
green
mean,
card is spicy.
especially when he came out with the Super Saiyan Blues, where Goku's green card was already super OP when it heals, restores ki, increases inflicted damage, and then Vegeta had that gimmicky blast counter.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's and we still just got so many units that could use that green card. Like Goku Black is probably the most prominent example these days. Yeah, Ryuden, what do you think? What is your most timeless unit?
I was gonna say Whis,
Zenkai?
actually. He came out first year anniversary, and he's still used on teams now because strong support with giving a green card, and almost every God Key unit really abuses green card. So I feel like his kit right there made him pretty timeless. That and Yellow Cell.
All right, sounds like we're mostly in agreement here, and we can move
I
on.
mean, that Yellow Cell is going to be
He's just
extra.
he's
deadly
a
when
good
he
example of
gets
a just
Zenkai.
solid kit. I mean, his green card's great, has an ultimate with a feint to cover rescue. The dude just did everything, so he lasted. Yeah, that
You can
too.
get, like, quad
That
buff
definitely
with Zenkai
helped
or
him.
something too.
Yeah, I feel like they designed 18 to be on a YYB team
Don't
with
say
him
that.
in the future.
Do we still need we need him, and then we need this blue unit because androids still don't have a good functional blue unit. Like, yeah, the Zenkai Blue 18 might do it if they give her anywhere near the same type of love they gave to the yellow one. But other than that, they just need a new.
If they did that,
good,
if they gave the
functional blue
18,
unit.
the blue one, that kind of treatment, Android's his best team in the game, no doubt, with 100%. She has a passive against hybrids. They would literally squish out Sun Family. They should just Zenkai the 13 because that dude
Yeah,
came
it'd
and then
be-
everyone forgot about him.
Who?
I want Zenkai 13 before another 18 Zenkai. I think 13's a super unique character. You can try to keep his hat on if you want.
He needs the same type of treatment Gogeta just got, where they take his green card and where it is not chainable now, they need to make it chainable because all it does is knock someone away and then lock one of their cards.
I think it'd be a little bit
that's
difficult.
pretty
I don't
much
think
it.
they can with that card because the way it kind of just resets you back in the field. I don't think it's an easy way for you to chain. It's like a refresh of the battlefield when he uses it. I don't think they could chain it.
Well, I mean, if it had like
Well-
a 3 to 5 second lock at the end of it.
Maybe it locks like all of your red cards instead of just locking one card slot randomly then, because it's a little bit underpowered right now unless you use it to like get yourself out of situations where you would otherwise be screwed. Like if you burned your Vanish and then the enemy throws a Rising Rush or a blue or whatever card at you, you can effectively use it to not get completely screwed. But other than that, like the actual effects of it really aren't that impressive.
All right, I think.
It needs some
before
love.
this goes on too much. We have time for 2 more questions, I would say. The next one coming from Truth Seeker Huey asking, is it better to Z7 one unit or to Z1 a bunch of
Z7.
units?
C7.
Yeah,
Z7.
Never, ever, and don't Z1 anymore. I understand it's kind of okay for benches sometimes, but like Z1's just not worth it. Z3 or nothing, in my opinion, at least.
Wait. There's
Even
one
then,
situation
3 is
though.
tough. Like,
It is the same people that wouldn't want to summon on this multi-Z power banner. If you really are just trying to unlock the card art itself and you're collecting units and you're not going hard on PvP, like maybe if you're trying to save your CC,
Well, yeah, I mean,
going
I can
100%
see
free to
that
play,
too, I
but it's like
guess.
the one angle I can see.
If
But
you're collecting stuff, you still need to get to Z3 to get the card sleeves.
yeah, that's true too there. But yeah, I'm just saying that you're trying to use like a functional version of the unit. Like Z1 will still technically work, but I have to agree with everybody else. If you're trying to use a unit and have some value to it in Z7.
yeah.
And then that's where you prioritize what team you want to flesh out and just shoot for that one team. And then eventually, instead of having 12 Z1 units, you could have like 3 or 4 Z7 units.
But no, like if a unit like Golgita comes through and you don't run Super Saiyans and you don't run fusions, it's not really worth it to throw 1,000 Chrono Crystals just to unlock him, unless you're super wanting to collect it.
But then you even only get the card sleeves at Z3, so what are you really collecting if you Z1 him, right?
An extra usable unit, because right now his non-Zenkai form is just
Okay,
trash.
so you were just unlocking like the new uniques or the new.
You're just getting your
ability.
base stats up and the updated abilities.
Fair enough. Okay, and I think that was pretty unanimous, saying don't Z1 a bunch of units, rather focus on one good unit. And the last question for today, coming from No RR, with Legends surprisingly handing out Legends Limited Z Power at much cheaper cost now than the Super Chronos, do you think that we could get a dual New Year's banner of Legends Limited Gogeta Blue and Full Power Broly, referencing the step ups in March that we had with Frieza and Piccolo?
Yeah, I could see that.
Probably. I mean, they've already done it once with Piccolo and Frieza. Those units, are not synonymous with one another. Like, they just were 2 random, like, unrelated events with each other. But
Yeah.
like, it would be perfect right now. Like they've already done it once, so that sets the precedent that it can be done again. And right now, again, they have to one up what they just did for Black Friday, which was 4 brand new units, one of which was a Legends Limited. It would make sense if they were gonna do it.
We
it
also
would be
haven't
now.
gotten a new form of
that's
that
really-
that legendary Super Saiyan Broly. It's only the purple one, so I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped one alongside Gogeta Blue. If the whole idea is to do a Broly movie themed set of banners.
But do they really need to though?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do they really need to though? Because like in terms of like I would say in terms of representation, like of what Broly actually did in the movie and how they translated it into the game, they kind of covered everything, right? Like he has both Super Saiyan and Full Power Super Saiyan. He does the most prominent moves that he did in the movie. I don't really know. Or
he has like this like spread shot hand blast he does. He's got this really awesome rendition in Fighters of his like crazy mouth laser he does right before Gogeta starts to execute him. That's what I would expect his LF to be, is when he just starts going nuts and destroying everything around him.
Energy out of his mouth.
Oh, dude, I've rewatched that scene a million times. I love it so much.
Like pea soup.
I'm going to say if they want to push for top grossing, finally get like 9 countries or whatever, this is what they have to do for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I
prefer like one LF though, and like 2 banners how they did the New Year's, how they had like a GT theme and a future theme, but I don't know.
That's going to be painful,
dual LF seems likely.
Oh, sorry. Actually,
I mean,
Endakuba, you were saying something before.
Oh, I mean that was really it. Honestly, I was gonna say like I really think that they represented him like as much as they could, but then I kind of thought about it and I was like, well, then again, the same thing could be said about Dokkan, but Dokkan has like 5 billion versions of like Goku and Vegeta and whatnot, and they all like usually get represented differently to a certain degree. So like I'm pretty sure they can figure out something.
They have some different moves they could throw out, like the one where he puts up the green bubble shield and just shoots energy out in like every goddamn direction and just like starts blowing up everything. The mouth puke energy, the the crazy little hand orbs that he did when he like dodged in on Gogeta, and then Gogeta just did that little weird hand motion and just dismissed it.
Oh, they can also give him like a special skill card where he can kind of like stun the enemy, kind of like how Goku does. Because remember, like Goku did it to him, then he used his key and did it back to Goku. So they could give him something like that too.
Oh, Godbind Broly, let's go.
But I remember D3 specifically saying the double LF banners were a mistake and they're never supposed to come again. What do you think about that, though?
They also,
I think dual
sure,
banners were a mistake.
Didn't they also say that for dual Zenkais? And then we just got another one like a month later.
You know, hey, you know.
Yeah, we got a quad Zenkai if you included the folks that were waiting on Cooler and Fat Boo until the price revamp happened.
You mean like me? Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
They hit you with all 4 Zenkai banners at once in that situation.
If there's 2 banners, though, we already know about Frieza. Let's just pretend Broly and Gogeta are confirmed, right? Who's the other 2? I'm assuming there's 2 to 3 more units to fill out a reason to summon on 2 banners.
If there's a Broly banner, I would call for the Frieza that we already saw, and then a Paragus unit, right? And then we would need the Gogeta banner, which might have like a summonable Saab Goku on it if they don't go the free-to-play route with him. And then...
What about like
a Deku unit?
I'm honestly...
What about like a transforming God Goku into Blue Goku?
That's what I was going to say.
Said it's probably coming.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's 2 other units that are going to be in that banner, like if it's, absolutely confirmed it's Super Saiyan or Gogeta Blue, right? I don't see Paragus because he literally did not do anything in that movie at all. And
support for Broly.
That's true, yeah.
He come out and shoot a gun. Yeah. He shot some dude in the back.
No, like it makes a lot more sense for it to be Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta, especially because could you imagine if we actually got like a dual unit of those 2, or maybe like the main unit of the dual unit is Goku or whatever, and then their ultimate attack is like the combination of Gallic Gun and Kamehameha? I would absolutely summon for that unit, hands down.
That almost deserves to be like a Legends Limited combo unit by itself.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's Legends Limited quality. If you're getting that moment, the Gallic Gun Kamehameha in the Broly movie is like one of the more iconic moments of the whole movie.
See a Chi-Lai coming? Her model's already in the game. She could be a support unit for movies. Like an EX Chi-Lai, I can see
take it.
Yeah, it could be Chi-Lai, the Frieza, and Broly, and then
No, it's gonna
Gogeta, a transforming God to Blue Goku.
Like,
So that's one of the coolest transformations in all of Dragon
or
Ball.
hear me out.
If
And
it,
then
Hear me out.
a transforming God to Blue
Paragus
Vegeta.
is coming in, and he has like 10,000 HP, and when he dies, he gives
okay.
monster buffs to Broly.
Yeah,
Like the Sun
ew.
Family
What
Goku.
if it's
oh,
so
he
he's just
could
like a
be death.
sacrificial unit. That's really it.
hear me out. LF Paragus, but his LF is he dies, and then Broly comes out, turns Super Saiyan, does that like explosion thing on the LF.
Because that's how the Dokkan unit should have worked. Paikon should have died and you got Vegeta. Or Gogeta.
Yikes.
Honestly, like I'm down for that Chi-Lai. I mean, she'd be a girls unit too, so that's kind of cool. But yeah,
I feel like Chi-Lai can stay more of like the support unit. She steals some Dragon Balls and runs down a hallway. What else does this character do?
Hey, don't
She
sleep.
shoots her little laser gun, bro.
Yeah. Or wait, what's the other dude's name? Like Limo or whatever?
A limo.
Oh, Lemo. Yeah, they can have Chi-Lai, Lemo assist. There you go. Go.
Oh my gosh, just a pure support Chi-Lai and Limo unit where they kind of float around on the field together. I could see like
blue
that.
card is Limo come in with the spaceship and just crash into the opponent.
I would definitely take that. That'd be
Oh
hilarious.
no, I could have like that IT rescue thing and Limo comes in and swoops you out of the field.
Yeah, what if the rescue is wishing for you to go somewhere else with the Dragon Balls?
Oh, fantastic.
But they're ejected out of the game for the rest of the time. There you go.
Oh my god. Just one shot your unit?
Dude, that would actually be a crazy concept. What if they, and this, you just got wheels spinning in my head, but what if they introduced a system into the game in the future that let you, like, mid-battle swap one of your characters out with one of your bench units somehow?
No. You'd have to load all the assets going into the fight. It's a nightmare for older devices.
Yeah.
But dude, I mean, they got to move past that sooner or later one day.
Dokkan hasn't, have they?
You load 6 units, 7 units into a fight when you're going into
Yeah,
Dokkan.
but I mean, Dokkans.
But
have
they're
you seen their
JPEGs.
sprites? They're like 320 by 160 or something.
Right, but I mean, it's not really all that
It's not the
complicated
same.
for Legends.
Well, I
wouldn't
think
say that.
Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 kind of broke that barrier for me, if we're being fair, because they look completely fleshed out. I'm sure she doesn't have all of her animations, but the model looks like it's completely there.
I think
think Radiant's trying to talk. He
what's going
keeps
on in my
flickering.
Audio setup. You guys said like I sound like an old movie, but I'm
You sound
getting.
fine right now.
Ish.
No, it's still having the crackle.
I don't hear
I'm
it.
just seeing the highlighted message in the chat saying Paragus is definitely going to be unit. They won't make him model just so they show Frieza's special attack in the V-Jump. Speaking of, the model is already in the game.
No, the model in the V jump is Broly.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess
Yeah,
let's disregard this message.
he's literally attacking Broly with the same death beam he used to kill Paragus in the movie.
Yeah. Which, by the way, because I kind of like roughly translated that crap. So apparently, Frieza's move or his ultra attack is called Nova Storm. Like, am I missing something? Like, I gotta be missing something. I have no idea what that move is. Like, I only know the surprise death beam.
It's gonna be like Vegito Blue's Spirit Excalibur. Like they just pulled it out of non-existence or Heroes or Xenoverse and just
Dude,
like, oh,
every
he needs an
Goku's
Just
ultimate
give
is
him
called
this.
Dragon Fist something, but they don't have the actual Dragon Fist unit. Everything.
Except for the GT Kid one, yeah. Right.
Ryuken. All right, I think that's pretty much wrapping it up for today. First off, I want to give a special shout out to Bella Moore. He came, he saw, and he gifted 20 subs over the course of the stream. I think he was at 5 at the break, so thank you so much for your support. And also, Usman gifted a couple of bits. Thank you for that, and we really appreciate all of your support. With that said, don't forget.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say before you end it, we actually didn't show off on screen or talk about the V jump at all. Did we want to do that for like 5 or 10 minutes?
Isn't it just the Frieza?
We just barely touched on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll
But,
probably.
Gresh,
You can at least pop it up there while we're ending this. Like,
Well,
Did you look at the
Yeah.
stat spread? Like, is he seeming like a defense support?
I'll give
Like,
a quick. I'll give my quick opinion on
Which
it,
should
which
tell
is
you.
not very high. I'll just say I really don't like how they designed him. The last thing, if you ask me, the last thing the LOE team needed, I would say a range damage dealer, which is exactly what he is. He does have utility in that he steals Dragon Balls. He gets stronger with every Dragon Ball you have. He debuffs the enemies with every Striker Blast cards he uses, but the team doesn't need him. They need the team needs defense. That's it. Not excited for him at all.
And there you have it.
but will you summon?
I'll summon because of the other units on the banner. Yeah.
just so that
Gotcha.
it's included in part of the stream. I was just gonna add it so that people can visualize it. Yoink. Let's just bring this up. Excuse the Sephiroth. I just want to include some of this on the podcast here. So, for anyone that may not have seen it already, that's kind of what you're looking at right there. Frieza. This is the death beam you said that he used to kill Paragus, except they're flying, not standing on the ground. And then that Nova Strike, it looks like he's just releasing a tiny little orb of energy out of his hand. And
Yeah,
I guess
he does that in the movie when he comes to Earth for the first time.
Oh, like he's like thinking about blowing it up, and then he's like,
No, he doesn't blow it up. He like clears the clouds or something,
Yeah, he does,
right?
Yep.
It's about the style. It's about the entrance.
Yeah. He better be red, by the way.
Yeah,
'cause-
this is the high quality image. This is
All right. I think
that's where I
think
got
we're
this
good.
from. Oh, this is Miguel.
I mean,
yeah.
I think that the
but it has Paragus in the background of the card art though, so maybe he will come.
we shall see. I think that a good place to discuss that will be on our reaction stream to video and stuff on Tuesday, 8:15 a.m. Eastern, 5:15 a.m. Pacific, 2:15 p.m. Central European time. So definitely stay tuned for that. This podcast will premiere in 24 hours on YouTube, and it will be available sometime this week on your favorite podcast hosting services such as Spotify, I don't know, whatever services Google and Apple have, and so on. And with that said, we're going to wrap it up. We hope that you have a good rest of your day. You have a good week. We'll see you in a week for the next podcast, and you stay safe. And don't forget to check out all our creators and also go to 59 Gaming's Twitter and send us your concepts for Golgita Blue. You have 24 hours, or actually now you have about 22 hours left, so that we can get that out as fast as possible. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Take care. And that's us signing off. Bye, everyone.